Actually, I've already done a little bit of work on that.